Hello guys, in this video I'll show you how you can reset the position of the aeroplane model so that after moving out of the camera's view it will again reset back to its original position. Now the main reason behind resetting the aeroplane's model position is that once the aeroplane model moves out of the camera, it won't be visible unless and until we restart the application. Same is the case with the cloud models. So that's why in this video I'll show you how you can reset the position of the aeroplane, and in the next video we'll reset the position of the cloud models. So before resetting the aeroplane's position, I'll first deactivate the clouds so that the clouds don't come in between while we reset the position of the aeroplane. So with the cloud object selected, I'll uncheck this checkbox. After this, I'll select the aeroplane image target, and from inside the on target found function, I'll uncheck the cloud objects so that the cloud objects do not activate as soon as the aeroplane image target is detected. After this, I'll create a wall using a cube game object. So I'll right click on the aeroplane image target. I'll go inside 3D objects. I'll select the cube. Next, I'll select the 3D scale tool and I'll reduce the X scale of this cube so that the cube appears as a wall. Next, I'll position this wall on the opposite side of the aeroplane. So I'll position it somewhere over here. Okay. So the main idea is to make our aeroplane model collide with this wall. And as soon as the aeroplane collides with it, we'll reset the position of our aeroplane model. Okay. So I'll move this a little back. Next, I'll rename this cube to wall 1. And next, for detecting collisions with the wall 1 selected, I'll check this is trigger option. Okay. After this, I'll add a collider and a rigid body to the aeroplane model, because for detecting collisions, both the game objects must have collider components attached to them. Now in case of wall 1, which is the cube, a box collider is by default attached to it. So with the wall 1 selected, if I uncheck mesh renderer, then these green lines represent the box collider which is by default attached to a cube game objects. Okay, so I'll select the mesh renderer again. Now in case of a Super Spitfire aeroplane model, no colliders are attached. So to add a collider, I'll first select the aeroplane model. After this, I'll click on add component. Next, in the search field, I'll type box collider. So a box collider is attached to a Super Spitfire aeroplane model, and this is a box collider. Next, since the aeroplane model is going to hit this wall only from the front side, so that's why I'll increase the scale of the box collider only along the Z axis, because there are no objects with which our aeroplane is going to collide from the side view or from the top view. So with the Super Spitfire model selected, I'll increase the Z size of the box collider, and as I do this, you can see that the length of my box collider is increasing. So I'm satisfied with this size. Next, for moving the box collider on top, I'll change the Y center value. So with the size values, you can increase the size of the box collider, and with the center values, you can position the box collider with respect to our aeroplane model. So to move the box collider on top, I'll change the Y value, or I'll increase the Y value. So I'll keep the box collider in the center of this image target. So I've basically finished customizing the box collider. So as soon as the tip of the aeroplane, that is the front part of the box collider, collides with this wall 1, we will reset our aeroplane model. So next, I'll select the Super Spitfire aeroplane model again, and after this, I'll click on add component again, and this time I'll add the rigid body component to our aeroplane model. Next, I'll uncheck use gravity so that the aeroplane does not fall down because of gravity. Okay. So after setting up a Super Spitfire aeroplane model, next I'll add a tag to a wall 1, so that when the aeroplane collides with the wall, we will programmatically check what tag is attached to this particular game object. And if the tag is verified, we will reset the aeroplane's position. So with the wall 1 selected, I'll click on the tag 1 drop down. I'll then click on add tag. After this, I'll click on the plus sign. And over here to a wall 1, I'll give a tag of aeroplane wall. I'll hit save. Okay, now I've written all the alphabets in capital because you have to enter this same tag name inside the program. Okay, so that's why I've kept all the alphabets capital. Next, for attaching this tag to wall 1, I'll select wall 1 again. Next, I'll click on the tag drop down and I'll select aeroplane wall. So now when our aeroplane model collides with this wall 1, we will check whether this wall 1 has a tag of aeroplane wall, and if the tag is aeroplane wall, then we will reset the position of our aeroplane. So to do this, I'll write a new program. So to create one, I'll open data files. I'll then open scripts, and inside the scripts folder, I'll create a new C# script. I'll give the script a name of reset position. I'll then open it. Now inside the script, we will first find out the position of the aeroplane model and then we'll store it inside a vector3 variable. So first I'll declare a new vector3 variable. So I'll write down vector3. I'll give this a variable name of original pause. After this, inside the void start function, I'll write down original pause equal to transform dot local position. Okay, so basically, okay, I'll select my aeroplane model first. So as I was saying, basically with this code of transform.local position, we are finding out the local position of a super Spitfire aeroplane model. In this case, it is X 0.672, Y 0.409 and Z 0. And as soon as the application starts, we are transferring this local position of the aeroplane inside the original pause variable. After this, for detecting collisions, we'll create an on trigger enter function. But before that, I'll attach the reset position script to our aeroplane model. So with the reset position script selected, I'll attach it to the super Spitfire aeroplane model. So if I select the aeroplane model, then you can see that the reset position script is attached to it. Next, as I said, I'll declare an on trigger enter function. So below the update function, I'll write down on trigger. Okay, so I'm getting this option of on trigger enter function, so I'll select it. So the on trigger enter function is created and it contains this argument by the name of collider, which has a variable name of other. Okay, so basically whenever our aeroplane model collides with any game object, so the properties or the information of that game object will be stored inside this other variable. Okay, now as we know, since our aeroplane model is specifically going to collide with this wall, so when the model collides with this wall, we will write the program to find the tag of this wall. So to do this, I'll create an if condition. So I'll write down if, I'll open and close round brackets, and inside this I'll write down other dot game object dot compare tag. I'll open and close round brackets again. Next, inside compare tag, you have to write the exact string name of the tag. So the tag which we have attached to a wall 1 is aeroplane wall. So inside these double quotes, I'll write down the exact name, which is aeroplane wall. And since the alphabets of the tag are in capital, so that's why I'll write aeroplane wall in capital. Okay. So if the game object with which our aeroplane has collided has a tag of aeroplane wall, then as you know, we have to reset the position of our aeroplane model. So I'll open and close curly brackets, and inside the curly brackets, I'll write down the program to reset the position of the aeroplane wall. Okay. So to reset aeroplane's wall position, I'll just write down transform dot local position equal to original position. Okay, so my program is basically complete, and let me explain you this entire program once. So initially when the application starts, we are storing the position of the aeroplane model. That is, we are storing the default position of the aeroplane model from transform.local position to original position. And as I've explained a few minutes back, with the help of the transform.local position code, we can find out the original position. Okay, this should be Super Spitfire. Yeah, so as I was saying, with the help of transform.local position code, we can find out the local position of a Super Spitfire aeroplane model, and these values of x, y, and z will first be stored inside this original position variable. Next, as the aeroplane starts moving, it will collide with this wall 1, and as soon as the aeroplane collides with wall 1, since the wall 1 is a triggered game object, so this onTriggerEnter function will be called, and as I mentioned a few minutes back, the properties of the wall will be stored inside this other collider variable. Okay, now from all the properties, we want to check the tag property of this wall 1. So that's why using this if condition, I'm checking whether the tag which is attached to this wall 1 is aeroplane wall. And if the tag is aeroplane wall, then using this code, I'm resetting the position of my aeroplane model. So inside the original pos variable, we have the original position of the aeroplane wall, which is the position over here. So with this particular code, we are again transferring the original position value inside the transform.local position. Okay, so that's why using this particular code, the aeroplane will reset back to its original position as soon as it hits the wall 1, which is aeroplane wall. Okay, so after finishing the code, next let's check the output once. So I'll click on the play button this time. So the aeroplane is moving, and here's a wall. Now as soon as the aeroplane collides with the wall, it is reset back to its original position. Okay, so let's check the output again. So as soon as the aeroplane collides with the aeroplane wall, it has reset back to its original position. Next, let me show you how you can make this wall transparent. So to do this, I'll create a new material. So I'll open the materials folder. After this, I'll create a new material. I'll give this material a name of transparent matte. After this, with the transparent matte selected, I'll click on the rendering mode drop down, and I'll change it from opaque to fade. After this, I'll click on the color picker option, and this time to reduce the opacity or to make this cube transparent, I'll reduce the alpha value of the cube. So I'll reduce this particular value, and as you may notice, as I reduce the value, this transparent matte is becoming transparent. Okay, so I'll reduce the value completely. So now I've successfully converted this material into a transparent material. So next I'll attach this material to the wall 1. So with the transparent matte selected, I'll drag it and drop it on wall 1. So now as you will notice, the wall 1 is not visible inside a scene panel. So next I'll click on the play button and I'll test the output again. So as you can see, the wall 1 is not visible, but as we have seen in the previous output, the wall is somewhere over here. So as soon as the aeroplane reached at this position, it collided with the transparent wall and it reset it back to its original position. So let's check the output again. So as soon as the aeroplane came here, it collided with the wall and it reset it back to its original position. Okay, so I'll come out of play mode and I'll just move the wall a little bit more on the outer side. Okay, so guys, after resetting the aeroplane's position, I'll end this video over here and I'll see you in the next video, inside which we will reset the position of the cloud objects.